So good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of The Shield on a Couch. I'm your host Hector, and today we're gonna talk about the brand new album by the band Burning Witches, which is called The Dark Tower. And this is not to be confused with the Stephen King novel series The Dark Tower. At first I thought, is this a concept album? But I read and no, it has nothing to do with those novels from Stephen King. Side note, they're great, read them. But yeah, this is a band. It's an all-female fronted heavy metal band from Switzerland, and they have a few albums under their belt. I saw the name, but I haven't listened to their music that much. But I saw there was other YouTubers like JC Rock and Metal Reviews, and the Green Man mentioned a cover that they did, and I'm like, let's check them out. Let's see what all the fuss is about. So after listening to this album, The Dark Tower, which is 15 tracks and an hour and 4 minutes long, and out of those 15 tracks, there's 2 cover songs on it, I can say, this is very close to new wave of British heavy metal from the 80s. If you like your Iron Maidens, your Judas Priest, your Wasp, your Ozzy Osbourne, all those 80s metal, like, you will dig this. Like, this is a band that when I was listening to this is a band great for boomers. I just imagine those boomers that are always complaining like, there's no good music after 1989. Oh, shut the fuck up. Yeah, there's good music, but this is a band that would cater to that audience perfectly, because they have that classic heavy metal sound, and they're 5 women. And I don't know about you, but have you met old boomer metal dudes? They're horny as fuck, and like, they would hit on anything that moves. So this band is right up their alley. But all jokes aside, Burning Witches, this album is very enjoyable. I think that it has a few strong suits. For example, the vocals. The vocals are great. They remind me of like a female fronted Rob Halford meets Lita Ford from the 80s. And this is an album that is pretty much like fast-paced all the time. There's only one song that I thought it was more of a power ballad, and that's the song Tomorrow, which balances out a little bit. But I think my favorite tracks out of it are Unleash the Beast, which is like the second track after an intro. Then you have a song like Evil Witch that is like really like menacing, and I love the riffing on it. Very classic new wave style of British heavy metal. The song The Dark Tower, that's one of my highlights for me. I thought that song was great. I thought it was a more menacing type of sound in the song. And, some good tracks on it. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the 2 covers. So they end this album on 2 covers, which I think is kind of strange. Like, I don't like when they end an album on covers. I would love an album more to end with original material, and they have those covers back to back. You have Shot in the Dark, obviously a classic from Ozzy Osbourne, and I Wanna Be Somebody from Wasp. And out of those 2, Shot in the Dark is a great cover, and I like it because it sounds something like the original, but with a more modern sound, and I think the female vocals on it work perfectly. I Wanna Be Somebody, it sounds more like the original, and I was never a huge fan of Wasp, and I didn't give a shit about Wasp back then, and I don't give a shit about Wasp now. But yeah, so what is not that great about this album? I think it's too long. And I think even though I wouldn't say there's like weak tracks, but there's also tracks that are kind of repetitive. Like, for example, when I'm really listening to it, when it goes to Arrow in Time and Doomed to Die, I'm kind of like fatigued a little bit. I'm like, they could have trimmed a little bit of this, and it would have been a more cohesive experience. But I think they're good with the covers, so I would like to see the band do an all covers album in the future. But yeah, the album as a whole is entertaining. They're great musicians. I think if you like that 80s metal and you hate music that came after the 80s, this is the album for you. So what do you think of The Dark Tower by Burning Witches? Have you heard of them? Comment. What are your favorite tracks? And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to give me a like, and do not forget to subscribe. I have more content on the way. So until next time, this is Hector, The Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.